Stop. Right now. Before you spend another dollar, before you make another investment, before you follow another financial guru, ask yourself this. What if everything you believe about money is designed to keep you poor? My name doesn't matter. What matters is that for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to destroy every comfortable lie you've been told about wealth. This isn't financial advice. This is philosophical warfare against the system that's been feeding on your dreams. The financial industry has spent billions convincing you that you're the problem, that you're not disciplined enough, not smart enough, not educated enough. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the entire game is rigged from the start? Let's start with the biggest lie of all: infinite growth on a finite planet. Every financial advisor, every investment firm, every economic model is built on one impossible assumption: that everything can grow forever. But here's what they don't tell you. When economists talk about compound interest being the eighth wonder of the world, they're not talking about your compound interest. They're talking about the compound interest of debt that you'll pay to them. Think about it. Your mortgage compounds against you for 30 years. Your credit card debt compounds against you monthly. Your student loans compound against you for decades. But your savings account, that gives you what? 1%? While inflation eats 3 to 5% of your purchasing power every year. This isn't an accident. This is design. The system needs you to be a debtor, not a creditor. Because debtors are controllable. Debtors are predictable. Debtors work harder, complain less, and never have enough power to change the rules. The ancient Greeks had a word for this: pleonexia, the insatiable desire to have more. But they understood something we've forgotten. Pleonexia isn't just greed, it's a sickness. And our entire economic system is built on spreading this sickness to everyone. Now let's talk about debt. Not just as numbers on a spreadsheet, but as a tool of social control. The German philosopher Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel wrote about the master-slave dialectic. But he never imagined how perfectly this would describe modern finance. When you take on debt, you don't just owe money. You owe time. You owe freedom. You owe pieces of your future self. Every monthly payment is a chain that keeps you locked in a job you might hate, in a city you might want to leave, in a life you might want to change. But here's the really insidious part. Banks don't lend you money that exists. They create money out of nothing, lend it to you with interest, and then demand you pay back real value, your labor, your time, your life energy, for money that never existed in the first place. This is called fractional reserve banking, and it's the greatest magic trick ever performed. They create money digitally, charge you interest on it, and if you can't pay, they take your real assets, your house, your car, your future. And the beautiful part? You thank them for it. You call it building credit. You call it leveraging opportunities. You call it anything except what it really is: voluntary slavery. The Roman poet Juvenal wrote about bread and circuses, how you control a population by giving them food and entertainment. Today's version is credit and consumption. Keep them buying things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't like. Let's destroy another myth. The stock market as a path to wealth. For who? For you? Or for the people selling you the dream? Plato's cave. You know the story. Prisoners chained in a cave, watching shadows on the wall, thinking the shadows are reality. The financial media is your cave. The stock prices flashing on screens are your shadows. And the real action? That's happening where you can't see it. High-frequency trading algorithms make thousands of trades per second. They can buy and sell entire positions in the time it takes you to blink. They have direct access to market data milliseconds before you do. They can see your orders before they're executed and trade against you. But they tell you to buy and hold. They tell you to dollar cost average. They tell you to diversify. Why? Because they need you to be predictable. They need you to be the slow money that they can trade against. Warren Buffett is worth over $100 billion. Do you think he got there by following the advice he gives to retail investors? Or do you think he got there by having access to deals, information, and opportunities that you'll never see? The house always wins, not because they're smarter than you, but because they control the game. They see your cards. They can change the rules. And when they lose, they get bailed out with your tax money. Every time you buy a stock, you're betting that you know something the market doesn't. But the market includes people with supercomputers, insider information, and the ability to move billions of dollars instantly. What do you know that they don't? Now we get to the psychological warfare, the deliberate creation of scarcity in your mind. You live in the most abundant time in human history, yet you feel constantly behind, constantly lacking, constantly anxious about money. Why? Because scarcity is profitable. When you believe there's not enough to go around, you work harder for less. You accept worse conditions. You compete against your neighbors instead of cooperating with them. The advertising industry spends over $600 billion a year to make you feel inadequate. Every commercial, every social media post, every lifestyle article is designed to create a gap between who you are and who you think you should be. And that gap? That's where they make their money. You don't need a bigger house. You need the feeling of security. You don't need a luxury car. You need the feeling of status. You don't need designer clothes. You need the feeling of belonging. But they can't sell you feelings directly. So they sell you products and promise the feelings will come with them. The Buddhist concept of tanha, craving or thirst, describes this perfectly. It's not about what you have. It's about what you think you lack. And modern marketing is designed to make sure you always feel like you're lacking something. Here's a radical idea. What if you already have enough? What if the problem isn't that you don't have enough money, but that you've been programmed to want things that don't actually make you happy? Let's talk about financial self-awareness, the idea that if you just budget better, save more, invest smarter, you'll achieve financial freedom. This is perhaps the cruelest lie of all. Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for proving that humans are terrible at making rational financial decisions. We're wired for cognitive biases. We overestimate our abilities. We underestimate risks. We make emotional decisions and then rationalize them later. But the financial industry doesn't want you to know this. They want you to believe that success is just a matter of willpower and education. Because if you believe that, then when you fail, you blame yourself instead of the system. You think you're choosing what to buy, where to invest, how to spend, but every choice you make has been shaped by algorithms designed to manipulate your behavior. Your social media feed, your search results, your recommended products, all optimized to extract maximum value from your attention and your wallet. The ancient Stoics understood something we've forgotten. You can't control outcomes. You can only control your responses. But the financial world sells you the illusion of control while systematically removing your actual power to change anything meaningful. So what is real wealth? Aristotle called it eudaimonia, often translated as happiness, but really meaning human flourishing, the full realization of human potential. Real wealth is time. Time to think. Time to create. Time to connect with people you care about. Time to contribute something meaningful to the world. Everything else is just a tool to buy time. Real wealth is freedom. Freedom from debt. Freedom from jobs that drain your soul. Freedom from the constant anxiety of not having enough. Freedom to say no to things that don't align with your values. Real wealth is purpose, knowing why you get up in the morning. Having something to contribute that's bigger than your own consumption. Being part of something that will outlast your individual existence. The wealthiest people I know aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones who need the least money to be happy. They've figured out what actually matters, and they've organized their lives around that instead of around accumulating more stuff. The system wants you to believe that you're powerless, that you have to play by their rules, that the only way to win is to become like them. But that's not true. You can opt out. You can choose differently. You can build wealth that actually serves your life instead of consuming it. But first, you have to stop believing their lies about what wealth means. Start asking different questions. Not, how can I make more money? But, how can I need less money? Not, what should I buy? But, what do I already have that I'm not appreciating? Not, how can I beat the market? But, how can I stop playing their game altogether? The revolution isn't coming. It's already here. Every time someone chooses connection over consumption, every time someone values time over money, every time someone builds something real instead of chasing something fake, that's the revolution. Wake up! The cage door has been open this whole time.